We're Journey Further, and we believe in bringing clarity at speed to the market in order to create the performance brands of tomorrow. Today, I want to help you by talking about how you can get more from your digital marketing spend, specifically in paid media. And the thing that we're talking about today is really what's the digital rocket fuel that's going to get you that extra performance that you need in today's market. I'm Chris Rowett. I'm the co-founder and paid media director at Journey Further. My background is in PPC initially, and then moving into paid media more widely. I now run a very large team of senior experts in paid media. Some of the key questions we're being asked at the moment are things like, why are the CPCs in the market increasing? Why is the search volume that I'm seeing falling? And why is it that I can't get as much insight from paid media as I once could? So we're going to try and answer those questions as we go through the presentation. Three key areas we want to really talk about are going to be creative, tech, and first-party data. Three really core ingredients of good paid media. So we'll start with creative. How do you broaden your reach and impact when you're actually advertising? So we went to the Google Marketing Live event this year, and one of the big things that they talked about was creative formats and different ways of reaching your customers. The main message there was your customers are using the platforms such as Google in so many different varied ways, in such weird orders, that actually the thing you need to really get right is how do you get your creative in front of people at the right time. Some of the creative formats they were talking about were new formats for YouTube Shorts that's taking off, that's getting millions and millions of new viewers every day, and also some of their new premium inventory that allows you to advertise against shopping ads, that allows you to advertise in feed. So if you don't have the creative to support these formats, that's a way that you can actually reach your audience in a greater way. They also were pushing the idea of Performance Max, and this again is a way of actually targeting users across different platforms and different media types using different creative, so that if a user doesn't interact with one type of ad, they may actually be attracted to a different type of ad. Second area we want to talk about is powerful tech. So how do you get in front of that audience in the first place? There's been a big change over the last few years. Since sort of coming on 2017, we've seen the rise of AI within digital marketing, both in terms of Meta, Google, and Microsoft. We're seeing that this technology is getting more and more powerful, enabling you to do a better and better job of optimizing towards your users. And various key areas across the paid media work that we do have been supplemented or even overtaken by machine learning in some cases. So when we look at where that's happening, we see that areas such as creative is lagging behind a little, where there's now dynamically generated creative, but it still isn't as good as it needs to be to perform. Whereas areas such as bidding and audience targeting is getting so strong that now that the job of the analyst has essentially changed in those areas. It gets to the point now where really the machine is doing the kind of the what, that's producing the insights to tell you what's changed, what's working, what's not working. And the analyst is starting to get better and better at giving you the insights as to why that's happening and how you can change that performance. It's not just us who's saying that. We see that people experts in the industry, such as Freddie Valleys, saying that in their latest book. So you can get verified commentary on that from other sources. Something we do see is that the amount of data that's available to you as an analyst to optimize to is decreasing. And a lot of this is going into the walled gardens of Meta and Google. The way that you see this when you're looking at insights within the platform are that you can only see a few demographic interest data, you can only see certain information about in-market and affinity, whereas the machines get access to much more detailed information about every user. As long as it stays encrypted, Google and Meta are allowed to understand things about you that they cannot share and use that as part of the optimization. So it's really key now, and I think that's why very rarely do you see machine learning losing when it comes to bidding changes. And the analyst really needs to understand how this is working in order to give you those insights. We can also utilize machine learning. In some cases, it's open source. You can get access to the power of machine learning in order to create your own digital marketing tools. Here, an example of Salient, an SEO tool that tries to unpick the algorithm that drives SEO rankings and help you to actually win within SEO. So machine learning can be used to actually do better work internally as well. An interesting quote that I like is this one: by far, the greatest danger of artificial intelligence is that people conclude too early that they understand it. And that certainly is the case when it comes to these new powerful pieces of tech that are given to us on a plate by Google and Meta. A lot of the time we're being asked questions that reveal that people don't really understand exactly how these tools work. And our own learning has taken time to come along, where what we think as a human is straightforward and simple and should be obvious, to a machine it's a completely different point of view. They don't understand in the same way that a human does, but they are so much more powerful when it comes to pattern recognition and finding data to trend on. Our role has changed in this way now. We've become both the teacher, the pilot, and the medic. In the first instance, the teacher, we're all about trying to help the machine learning to understand the goals of your business, to actually set the parameters so that it closely aligns to what you want to achieve as a company. The pilot, once things are up and running, it's about making sure you're adjusting to fixed variables such as budgets, such as targets, such as segmentation. We want to achieve more sales in this area and fewer sales in this area in order to help wider business context. And finally, the medic. When things do go wrong, and sometimes they do, it's our role to jump in and understand what exactly is causing the performance to drop. Is it a problem with the data? Is it a problem with the targeting? We can quickly get to the answer as to what's causing the problem and fix it so that the machine learning can get back on with optimizing the campaigns. So what are you buying in this new world where technology is taking over and our jobs are changing? Well, I think that as we go forward, what you'll be interested in is hiring people either internally or with an agency who have the experience and skill to handle this technology. It'll be less about the number of hours put in and more about the ability to actually translate what's going on with the machines and fix it and guide it and do a better job with it. And the final area we want to talk about is first-party data. This is a really interesting new field that's coming up time and time again with changes in cookie policies, etc. So how can you really leverage first-party data? So the first thing is using first-party data to drive better results from machine learning through Meta, Google, Microsoft. And we do that by actually setting up value-based bidding. So that looks at all the different micro and macro touch points along a customer's journey, whether that be newsletters or sign-ups through to real sales and revenue. And you make changes to the actual value of each of these. So the smart bidding tools within there can actually find which customers are taking which actions. They can do a better job of targeting and they can do a better job of actually making sales. So this is a really key area. If you can make improvements to how you're targeting and how you're feeding value in at every level, then you're going to do a better job in the very short term. Some of the examples we've seen are from retail and also from lead gen. And the idea would be that even if a customer does not go through the entire process and make the final sale or turn into a qualified lead, you can still give the smart bidding some knowledge that that customer was at least in the right kind of zone, that they are interested in your product versus not interested at all. And you can do that by adding those layers of different value into the system. Google also, when we were at the conference, talked quite a lot about loyalty schemes and doing more with your existing customers. And I think it's quite an interesting point of view when it comes to the changes in cookie policies, that if first-party data is going to become more commonplace and third-party data less commonplace, then they're asking us to do a much better job once we've acquired a customer of actually making more value from them, becoming a longer-term customer, increasing lifetime value and increasing repeat purchase. And we can do that through various mechanics in terms of persuasion of the customer once they've already entered into a remarketing list, through better email marketing for existing customers, and for using kind of the innate abilities of Google, Meta, and Microsoft in order to target people in different ways when they've already been to your site before. So I think it's a really key area that Google are pushing at the moment, and I presume other platforms will start to push too. Last thing is reliable conversion data. So there's a huge change coming next year with both Meta, Google, changing the way that they actually track users, changing their policies in terms of how they present data back to you through things like GA4. So it's important that you're on top of this, that you understand how the new world is going to work so that you can gain the advantages when it happens. It's already starting to happen now with less and less reliable data. Facebook asking us to actually install Conversion API in order to better understand conversions, and Google also asking for enhanced conversions to improve that data. So if you can get those technical changes done now and understand what the new world of tracking looks like, you can get an advantage. So next steps for you. We do offer paid media audits in order to understand whether you're making the most of your Meta accounts, Google accounts, and Microsoft accounts. It's a great way to see whether the work you're doing right now is on track and whether you're prepared for the future that's coming. So thank you very much. We've been Journey Further. Please get in touch.